My strength was obtained through my struggle. It is so unfortunate, but I'm glad that I was able to turn it around. I think overall, being a Black female, I am faced with the dual status of being a racial and a gender minority. We are all gifted with a talent. Every last one of us has something to bring to the world, but you have to believe that you can do so.
Welcome, listeners, to Taking Her Lead. This is Trace Kerr.
And this is Joshua Everett Mayer. We had a real treat this episode to interview Reka Lashawn, who is an APRN. She works for Lee Health in Fort Myers, Florida. And she's an inspiring person.
Yeah. And in addition to being a nurse, she also is slowly stepping into motivational speaking. And you absolutely need to stick through to the end because she schooled both of us on how to be more positive. And yeah, we should step into the episode. And what did Reka say? Let's get it.
Let's get it. Reka, welcome to Taking Her Lead. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. How are you?
Doing great. Well, there's a pandemic on, but so far I'm healthy. And Trace?
I'm so glad that you could take some time to talk to us today about you and your life and your story. And
yeah,
I look forward to talking with you today on this.
Great. Well, let's dive in. And I should say dive in because we did have just a couple minutes to chat and hear how you're doing. And again, thank you for taking the time. I know things are pretty crazy for you, particularly given your work. But on that note, why don't you talk a little bit about what you currently do and get into your journey up to what you currently do.
Okay. So what I currently do is I am employed in the state of Florida as an advanced registered nurse practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
I took the long road to becoming a nurse practitioner. I actually became a licensed practical nurse. I then went on and got my associate's degree in nursing, then into my bachelor's, and then this. I went to school for 12 straight years without taking a break.
Yeah.
Just kind of did it. And it happened by, I'm going to tell you a quick funny story.
No, take your time.
I did not sit down and decide that I was going to become a nurse. I wasn't interested in going to school as far as anything medical was concerned. I literally was a truck driver.
Oh.
Yes, I drove big rigs. So I went looking one day for a job, and I knew where there were a lot of companies that had trucks parked. So I walked up to one of the doors, and on the door it said that they took applications at this building, and there was an address there. So I went to this address, and inside I was walking around. I found out later it was the office where you applied for government assistance. And so on the side, there was a resource center that helped you look for jobs. So while walking around, there was a sign on the wall that stated they would pay for you to go to a class for medical coding and billing. So I thought, wow, they'll pay for a class. That's a free class. I don't have a problem. I can do that.
Yeah.
So I go up to the desk and I ask, can I sign up for the class? She said, you'll have to take a test. I said, not a problem. I have all day. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
I take this test and I wait around for the results. She calls me in this room and she says, I have good news and bad news. I said, okay. She said, the bad news is that you don't qualify financially. I said, don't qualify financially. I don't have a job, but okay. She said, I was married at the time. You're married and we used your husband's income. And then I said, okay, that's fine. She said, the good news is that I give this test to lots of women who qualify financially, but they can't pass the test. She said, you actually blew the test out of the water.
Nice work.
She said, there's no way with these scores that I can simply let you walk out of the building and not do something. So I said, okay, at this point, I don't know really what that means. And she said, in a couple of days, expect a phone call. So in about 2 days, as she stated, I get a call and this guy says, hello. And I said, yes. He said, I heard about your test scores. What do you want to go to school for? I said, you're kidding me. He was like, no, what do you want to go to school for? So here I am. I have someone on the phone. I don't know who they are. So I better hurry up and say something, because what are the chances if we hang up? How do I reach them? Will they call back? I don't know.
Right.
Here's a chance. I have nothing to lose. I better come up with something quick. So I thought, what can I go to school for and actually make good money and take care of my children? Will you pay if I go to nursing school? Just that fast.
Mm-hmm.
He said, yes. And I thought, this can't be real. He said, write down this phone number. I wrote it down. He said, go over to the school, give them that number. The next day, I went over to the vocational school. I asked to sign up for the practical nursing program. I gave them the phone number. They gave me an entrance exam, which I passed. They called him. He paid for it.
Who was it?
To this day, I have never met him.
Oh my goodness.
So it wasn't a program. It was a private investor kind of thing.
Actually, it turned out I researched it and looked for this guy. I found out later that he was the head of a program that actually did have funds. And he has since passed away, so I never got to tell him thank you.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, he knew.
But
wow.
He gave me that opportunity and I jumped on it. So here I am sitting in this LPN program, and I'm like, the first class we had to go to a skilled nursing facility. I was like, dude, can I really do this?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, I'm here. I might as well. So as I started to do this program, I said, hey, I can do this. I might as well continue. So after I graduated the very next semester, I was already enrolled and starting on my associate's degree. I had another child. I don't know how that kept happening.
I can tell you, but
I have some guesses, but I'm not real sure. I had another child and I said, you know what, I can do this. I can do this. And I was struggling, but I then went on, I got my bachelor's. 3 weeks after the last day of class in my bachelor's program, I was already enrolled for my master's. And here I am today, nurse practitioner.
12 years later. Wow.
Yep.
And how long have you been practicing as a nurse practitioner?
Since 2013.
Okay. Yeah. So you began your journey, your educational journey in 2001?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure did.
Wow.
2001.
Talk to us just a little bit about your current work. What does it look like? Where are you?
So as a nurse practitioner, I've done a few things, mostly outpatient. I was inpatient for just a short while, about a year. But I currently work outpatient setting. It's like a family practice / internal medicine. Mm-hmm. Since it's so large, each doctor operates differently. And in Florida, we have the collaborative agreement. So I work really, really close with them. Mm. So I take care of chronic conditions. And I'm really big on health promotion and staying ahead of the game. Instead of figuring out what's wrong with you, let's take care of you so there's nothing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
My very first year as a nurse practitioner, I did work community health.
Okay.
And that I wanted to, when I graduated, I asked the health organization that I work for, could I please go? They had a little small clinic in the Dunbar community where I was raised in the projects, and it's about 2 blocks away from where I grew up. Mm. And I asked, could I please go work there? And they were like, wow, you're asking? Yeah, that's where I wanted to go because I grew up in the projects. My mother was only 16 when I was born. Mm. Then I had my first child at the age of 16. So I was repeating the cycle, and I kind of understand some of the struggles that happened there. So I purposely wanted to go back and be a part of bringing some change to that community.
Yeah. What did that look like when you were there?
Well, I will tell you the first part of being a patient there, the criteria consisted of you could not have insurance. You either did not have insurance or very little to qualify for those services. So imagine getting a patient who is a hypertensive diabetic with high cholesterol with no insurance. Of course, they're going to be on medications. Mm-hmm. So guess what? Now I become not just the medical provider, but then I become also a nutritionist. I also become a social worker because I have to figure out how to get you these medications. I can't tell you to take something for your health and you not be able to obtain it.
Right.
So I did a lot of figuring out on how to get these people the medications that they need.
That sounds intense. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I've even shown up to someone's house and knocked on their door. He said, you're crazy because his labs came back and I knew he didn't have transportation and he needed to go to the hospital now.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gone, guys. I'm gone. And since I grew up in that community, when I called he didn't have a phone, but I called a family member in the chart and they said, oh, he lives over by the big tree, by the store on the corner. I said, I know exactly where that is.
It's medicine in a way that I think more people need to know about, that it's not just taking care of someone while they're in the office, but taking some care of someone in their community. And that's hugely important.
And understanding reasons. You have to understand it's not just learning the science of it, which is why I like being a nurse practitioner, because we actually learn the art of nursing and the theory behind it. So you have to understand the different people, the different cultures, and where they come from. So it's easy if a person has grown up around healthy foods and a traditional, what we consider a traditional family. It's pretty hard for someone who's living in a car, has no insurance, does not have access. So we would literally, like some of the companies would send us medicine, we'd apply for aid from the individual pharmaceutical companies, and they would ship them to us. And we would set it up where I would tell an individual patient, well, your medicine's going to be here on the first Thursday of the month. Come to the office. I'll have it for you. And we just used our office as their address because they didn't have one.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we lived in Southern California for a long time, and in a community where there was a community center, and that was medical, and that was dental, and that was people getting together, and that. Do you find that sort of community design? I mean, is that part of why you wanted to go back and work in your own community, is to kind of try to give back, lift up, make things better?
Yes, that's a huge part of it. Plus, I have the ability to speak to them where they are.
Yes.
So a large part of compliance in me following what I'm told by the physician is actually understanding what he said.
Yeah.
So getting them to understand that you can't use those huge medical terms to speak to someone who dropped out of school in the third grade.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to them. If I'm going to get them to comply with what I'm recommending, I have to speak to them at their level.
Yes.
So I was able to break it down and speak to them wherever they may be. I came from that community. I understood that, and I wanted to be a huge part of that. Another thing is I wanted those young women in that community to see me. I never had the mentor. So I never had the role model. When I decided to do that, I didn't have a nurse practitioner to call and say, how did you get there? What did you do? What do you recommend? I just grabbed myself by my bootstraps and I went ahead with it. But I wanted them to see somebody else because a lot of them don't even have boots.
Right. Yeah.
So I want them to know that this is possible. You can do this. Just don't give up.
So you have the WOW Club. That's about providing young women with tools and resources. How have you incorporated that into this leadership role that you're kind of stepping into?
So the acronym WOW stands for Building Women of Worth. So I felt that it was important to take these little girls and show them the opportunities that can be given to them or afforded to them with hard work and persistence. So what I have done is, I don't know how many pictures you've seen, Trace. Did you see the pictures from the college tours?
I did not. I had some trouble finding, does WOW have a website? Because I do show notes, and I was like, I needed some sort of link for people to be able to look into that.
There aren't any, because I kind of paused on the WOW Club when I started. Okay, I'll give you the timeline. I started with the WOW Club. So I started taking these little girls. So I took them to Florida Gulf Coast University. I've taken them to the University of Florida. I've taken them to FAMU, which is a historical Black college. And then I took them to Florida State in Tallahassee. So I wanted them to see I think it adds more value to it when they can see it.
Yes.
So I took them to these different places and I asked them, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? And then I set up tours on these college campuses. They get to talk to the students, different things. I have to send you guys some videos and some from these different tours and things these girls got to experience. And we were meeting once a week. And we would talk, and I would get up, let's say like in the mornings, and I text each one of them individual messages, which took forever because I didn't want anybody to say, oh, she sent me that. She sent me that. Nope. Each one was tailored to each girl. So I was like, and they would spend nights at my house, and we would go on these field trips based on grades. And it was like reward systems. And even the college tour, nobody paid. We did fundraisers because I didn't want any little girl to say, well, my mom can't afford to go.
Yeah.
So I can't go. So we would sell cupcakes and cookies and different things and hold raffles. And the day of the trip, everybody just go. The funds were provided, all meals, all room, board, everything. So it's from that, people started asking me, would I come speak? Can you come speak to my group? Can you come to my church? I'm having an event. Can you come say something? And I started doing that, and I thought, wait a minute, hold on. Maybe I can do this on a larger scale, which is when Reka Small kind of transitioned into Reka Lashawn. Reka Lashawn is the brand that I have for my motivational speaking. So that actually does have a website.
Yes,
So
and I've been there, and that was very informative, and it's a great resource. And I'll post links to that as well.
Yes. And that came about because I did have my first child at the age of 16. I did end up being a mother to many. The ones I birthed 5, raised 7, still have some here at home, and was able to go to work, do these things, mentor kids. So people were like, how do you do it? How do you do it? Can you tell us how? So I formed Reka Lashawn, started doing the motivational speaking. Actually, LinkedIn, I created the profile years ago and never went on, literally for years. I just started saying, let me focus a little bit on this profile, and I put up this post, and it's not even a quarter of the story, but it is still so profound because I placed a picture of me, 16 years old, at a ceremony, which I never did graduate high school. I don't have a high school diploma. I have a GED.
Yeah.
So this was a ceremony. Here I am with this huge stomach with my mother standing next to me, who looks like my sister because we're not that far apart in age. So my mother was a grandmother at the age of 32.
Wow.
I'm inspired right now. I'm hanging on your words. Keep going.
So now I want my children to see that this is possible. In my community that I come from, I think there's a lack of hope. But that is getting better by the day as we continue to learn the values. God has given us so much. We are all gifted with a talent. Every last one of us has something to bring to the world, but you have to believe that you can do so. So my goal is to get people to believe that they can do it, to bring every gift, every talent, and have it manifested and bring it to full fruition. It's just like, I love the stories and I read them every day of people, and I love the movies and different things that people that were counted out. But for me, that made me better. When I was in LPN school, I left out the fact, I said I was pregnant in RN school, but I was pregnant in LPN school as well. So here I am with this huge stomach. I found out the very first semester of class. So I said, well, I'm not going to drop out. I'm going to do this. And one of the teachers said to me, are you even supposed to be here? From the day she said that in first semester, I made sure I dedicated graduation to her. I was not going to quit because I was going to finish because of her.
Yeah. And I think that's the important thing, is that along with that hope piece, that no one is going to tell me that I can't be where I need to be. And that's huge. I mean, that takes a great presence of mind. And I think that's absolutely something that needs to be taught, which is why your mentoring is so important.
So important. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Reka, you mentioned that at least in the beginning, you didn't have mentorship. There wasn't somebody guiding you. Did that ever change? Did you have supervisors or professors who kind of encouraged you along?
I still don't.
Hmm.
And I want one. I honestly do, but I don't.
I guess you've had to be that person for yourself all the way along.
Yes.
What do you think it is about yourself that has given you that strength that you needed?
My strength was obtained through my struggle. It is so unfortunate, but I'm glad that I was able to turn it around. I left home when I was 15 years old. When I left, I didn't pack a suitcase. I didn't take a toothbrush. I just walked out the door and never went back. So from the age of 15, I was on my own. It was so hard. I wouldn't wish it or advise it to anyone ever. But because of the experiences I've had, the abuse, the different things that I've had to face, it allowed me to become stronger. It's as if, you go to the gym every day and you stretch that muscle and you destroy that muscle and you beat that muscle, and before you know it, it's strong.
Yeah.
It's bigger. That was me. So I developed this sense of being resilient, and it was I don't think it was because I just carried that trait. I think it was just instilled in me through my different struggles.
Mm.
I think you're selling yourself short a little bit. I think some people come through great stress and struggle stronger for it, and it breaks others down, and that I think there's a personal strength there that you just you need to. You've earned every single thing that you've gotten, and that you deserve all the applause for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And specifically with regard to challenges around race issues. And I want to be very sensitive as I speak about this because I'm a white male who's been in leadership. And so, yeah, there's a divide, there's a differential there that I don't want to speak from at all. So I'm going to say this question, and if you think I should phrase it differently, I will phrase it differently. And it is, have you faced particular challenges due to race issues?
I think overall, being a Black female, I am faced with the dual status of being a racial and a gender minority.
Yeah.
So I have spoken before at an event, and I called it the double X. So not only did I get one, I got two. I looked it up. Back in 1969, Frances M. Beale, who was a Black feminist activist, termed it a double jeopardy. I think it's all in how you perceive it. Now, there are some who may think that that is a hindrance, and why even bother? No one will ever take me serious. I'll never get that job. I won't even apply. I won't even continue to go forward. Look what I have to deal with. For me, it was just the opposite. I think that if there's something I want to do, you better believe I'm coming 100. Now, if you tell me no, then I truly believe that is not the opportunity for me, because there must be something better.
Can you talk about specific situations around these issues that you've had to face off with?
Okay, I'll give you one example. When I worked as an RN, I worked in the emergency room. My entire RN registered nursing career was in the ER. So ER nurses are a little tougher than usual,
Yeah,
because of the patients that they have to deal with. I, on the other hand, am not. So one of the stereotypes of Black women are that they are angry and loud. And so I was at work one day, and there was a guy there, and he was pretty upset. He was just already upset. Now, mind you, he was upset, but everyone else he dealt with that day, he had an angry tone, but his words were monitored, I'll say. When I started to take care of him, he called me names that I hadn't heard him say to anyone else. So he started to call me these names, and then he called me the N-word. So it didn't faze me. I never moved. I never said anything. I continued to take care of him. So right before he was getting ready to leave the ER, he said that he was thirsty. So I went and I got a cup of ice water and I gave it to him. And one of my fellow employees said, "Why are you giving," because me of all people shouldn't give him anything, right? I'm the only one he's calling names. So I gave it to him. And then when he left, I said, "You guys do not understand," because he was mean and you guys kind of returned it back to him. He was mean to me and I gave him ice water. So I'm the one he was the meanest to. So when he may not ever say anything to you today, but when he goes home, he's going to think about that. He'll remember that. Whether it'll change him today, I don't know. But guess what? I'm going to take the weight off of my shoulders. The weight will be on him. I'm going to still have a good day. So it's just some of the things that I've seen at work that I've had to encounter, my coworkers have not. I teach part-time at the college here for that reason, because I want to be a source for others. But I did encounter it and this was in different programs. It wasn't just one, it was different ones.
Just that faculty pushed harder on different groups of people, or that
yes,
faculty was like, that one lady said, "Why are you even here?" Which just infuriates me.
Yeah, she said that to me, but literally they pushed harder. The work assignments were harder. It was so obvious. It was so obvious.
Do you think that was because, well, is it the, if I push you hard enough, you'll leave? What do you think the thought was behind it?
That may have been it. I don't understand. I often wondered why. I was so tempted one time to ask an instructor why.
Right, but that's dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, I wanted to ask so badly why. Even after I graduated, I wanted to ask. I was like, I want to just go ask why.
Yeah, because I know I've had instructors where they just, they make you so angry that you're, I mean, I don't know what you, but my thought is, I'm going to make you give me an A+,
Yes.
So that you have to.
I'll give you an example. So for my associates graduation, there was someone who was chosen from the class to speak at graduation. My class chose me. The professors came in. They said that I would not be the speaker. They don't believe that was a true vote. They would not take it. They were going to have a separate vote. Each person in the class was going to receive one piece of paper. You were to write the name down, and as you walked out of the class, you were going to put your one piece of paper into the professor's hand and leave the room so that they knew this was accurate. So I could hear different people in the class going, "We already voted. We already know who we want. Why are we doing this again?" And I sat back and I thought, you've got to be kidding me. But I didn't say anything. So they said I wasn't going to speak. Well, anyway, the day of the vote, everyone did it. Guess who they voted for?
Well, they voted for you, right?
They voted for me. So another one of my classmates said to me, She said, well, they told me to prepare a speech because I was pregnant and maybe you won't be here. I said, okay, that's fine. I spoke at graduation. I was in labor the entire time. I refused. I didn't tell anybody because I said, I'm going to give this speech. I'm going to give this speech because I know for a fact that I'm not wanted. After I spoke, I went into the lobby. I told my mom, I said, I'm in labor. She said, you can't be. I said, I am. I said, and it's not going to be long because I've been in labor the entire time. So my classmates decided to go with me. I know this sounds like I made it up, right? My classmates went with me and we all went to the hospital. The nurse said, there are way too many people in here because there was not the entire class, but there were a lot of us. And she said, I said, we all just graduated from nursing school. She went, what? You can all stay. And I delivered. I called the school the next day and said, I just wanted you to know I delivered a beautiful baby girl last night. And if you look it up, that was graduation for Edison State College. I graduated on May 4th, 2006. She was delivered at about 12:05, I think. So her birthday is May 5th, 2006.
I'm glad you did it. I hope you talked for a really long time.
Amen.
I did. And they put somebody else's name on the program, but that's okay. I did it.
So Reka, it sounds to me like you found it in yourself, both to believe in yourself and to overcome these challenges, in your way, move past them.
Yes.
You have a daughter. How does she feel about what you're doing?
My oldest daughter is 28. She's a sheriff.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, she's a sheriff. She lives in a different city. And then the next two are 13 and 6. So they're excited and they're so smart. I said, gosh, they're so smart. So I tell them all the time that if I could do this with no support, there is no excuse. I'll never accept any excuses because you have me. Now you can do whatever it is you want to do. So the 6-year-old says she wants to play the piano. So I'm waiting on a shipment any day. I've already ordered it. So you're in the house. Yeah, you're on quarantine. When you come out of this, you should be Liberace. No pressure. Elton John at the least. Come on.
There you go.
Yeah. Reka, so you are obviously a person of influence in a variety of ways. And I think you're hardwired that way. And I just appreciate who you are. Do you anticipate that you will move into higher levels of leadership or different areas where you can be an influencer and impact other people?
I actually started the doctoral program. I was supposed to graduate 2019, but I dropped short. I spoke with the program in January, and was contemplating on restarting it to receive my doctoral degree, but I don't know if I'm going to go that way because I think I enjoy the motivational part of it more. So I would love to continue to do medicine part-time and on a larger scale, travel and speak.
That is leadership.
Yes.
Yeah, because I just really believe that leadership is influence, and there are many ways to influence people around you.
And what are you most hopeful about considering women in leadership? I mean, as you look at the world, and I mean, like right now it's kind of a dumpster fire, but as we come back out of this, what do you see like for women around you?
I see things changing rapidly. Unfortunately, let's take the race for the presidential campaign of 2020. So there was a woman who was vying for the Democratic spot, and she had a strong standing. And I think the one thing that hurt her, literally the one thing, was her gender. So she wasn't even a flicker when the votes were cast. So unfortunately, there's a long way to go.
Yeah.
But if we continue to strive, we can't give up. We can't stop. We can't look at the obstacles, and we can't look at what has happened in the past and just say it doesn't matter, why bother? As long as we continue to go for it, I think that'll change. That'll change. I watched a story the other day, Madam C.J. Walker, who was the first Black female millionaire, who lived next door to Rockefeller in 1918. So if she could do that in 1918, why can't I do it in 2020?
And yet, I'm going to be honest, probably for a variety of reasons, that's amazing to me, and I'd never heard of her.
Oh, you've got to look her up. Madam C.J. Walker sold hair products. She was not even allowed to sell hair products in stores because she was Black.
Oh, is that
so she did door-to-door sales.
Is that the Netflix show?
Yes.
Oh, that is next on my list of things to watch. I'm so excited about it. Write it down, man.
Here I go.
He was a millionaire. Bought a house a mansion next to Rockefeller, and probably never attended school a day in her life.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all have our assignments. We're going to go watch that show, and you are going to go out there and kick ass and take names and make the world a better place. I think that's. I think we can all do that.
You can do that.
You know what? Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
So, because I say this every time I end an event, a show, a video, or whatever, no more excuses. No more settling. Let's get it. Let's go.
Okay, I do want to get it. That was so inspiring. I think I've done some public speaking. I think I just learned how to public speak. Be motivational. Oh my goodness. She just powerful. What a treat getting to chat with her.
And I really liked the, there's no excuses. I mean, there's no room, especially, okay, so we're recording in the beginning of April, and this is going to be coming out in the beginning of May, and everything's been turned upside down. And knowing that there are people out there who are still driving forward is, I don't know about you, but it's super comforting to me. So everyone, we'd like you to know that our episodes are coming out every second Tuesday. If you need any inspiration, this is where you need to come. We also have a link to Patreon on our website, takingherlead.blueberry.net. And like Joshua said before, BLUBRRY. And any contribution you make goes towards our operating costs and helps us reach out to more women in leadership.
You can also find us on Twitter at @her_taking. And we are on LinkedIn as well. We've got Trace and I both have profiles where you can find the podcast, but the podcast itself has a LinkedIn page, and you can Google Taking Her Lead LinkedIn, or search within LinkedIn for that. For all those women in leadership and all those who want to be, I'm Joshua Everett Mayer.
And this is Trace Kerr. Talk to you soon.